What's up guys, my name is Odo and today we're talking about another guide in Dauntless, and this time it's going to be on the axe. And before anyone's like, oh it's not a guide, you didn't include this one thing, it's a guide, okay? I'm doing the best I can. Anyway, in this guide we'll be talking about the basic attacks for the axe, as well as the combos, the cells that I recommend, and some tips and tricks that I wish I knew when I first started playing the axe. Oh, and the axe is actually locked at the beginning of the game. And to unlock it, you have to get to level 2 in the Weapon Master tree by doing some dailies, a weekly, or making a lot of weapons. So now we know that, we can move on with the video. For your basic attacks, they're pretty basic. You have your vertical attack, which is done by pressing left click, which you can also hold it for up to 3 times. And on the third charge, it does the most damage and generates the most energy. And if you time it correctly, once it hits the third charge, you can get something called power armor, which prevents you from getting knocked back by behemoth attacks. And then you have your horizontal attack, which can be done by pressing right click, and it's pretty much almost the exact same as the vertical attack in the sense that you can charge it, but this time you do not get power armor for timing the charge correctly, but you can hold it for however long you maintain stamina. And this attack is good for interrupting behemoths and charging it while walking towards behemoths to keep DPS uptime relatively high. Lastly, you have your Great Axe Special, or your Q. And to use your Q, you need to have full special meter, which is built by doing damage with your charged vertical attack or your charged horizontal attack. And when you do damage with these attacks, you have to have at least a little bit of stamina left, or else you will not gain any energy towards your special meter. Once you reach full special meter, you can press Q to unleash an overhead slam that deals damage and grants you a damage buff, and it stacks up to 3 times. The first stack grants you 12.5% increase to damage, the second 30%, and the third and last stack grants you 50% increase to total damage. Now these stacks are temporary, and the more you have, the faster they fade, so it's really important to make sure you keep your damage up throughout the fight and make sure you're actually charging your attacks to keep your stacks as high as possible, which is 3 stacks. And like I said before, your stacks do fade, and this fade is displayed by the mist around the solid bar on the axe special meter. Once this mist fades away completely, you will lose every single stack you currently have, and this is never good because you basically start back at ground zero, which is not a good feeling. So it's really important that you try and save your Q for the moments that you know that the behemoth will pretty much stay in the same spot so you can land it. But if you do miss your Q, you can press it again to try and land it again. But when you do this, you cannot move forward and you have to do it pretty quickly. So keep that in mind. It's a really cool tip that I didn't know for a while, but it's something I've been doing recently and it helps out a lot. Moving on to the combos, these are the best way to build your energy, and it's really important to know that the only attack you really have to charge in your combo is the very first one. But if you don't have enough stamina for that very first attack, you can charge it at the other indicated places in those combos. With that out of the way, let's talk about the very first combo, which is the Vertical Ripper. And this combo can be done by just pressing left click 5 times. But it's really important that you try and charge your first attack or your third attack in this combo so you can build energy throughout this attack. And I will say this combo is pretty much never used unless you want to just have fun and do something silly, because it's not that strong. It's really not. It takes way too long to actually use, and it just doesn't do enough DPS compared to the other combo, which is the Horizontal Edge. This combo is much stronger than the Vertical Ripper because you get to the burst damage much faster. There's not anywhere near as much buildup required to do the damage that the combo is meant to do. Executing this combo can be done by pressing right click 4 times, where you can hold the first or the third right click in this combo to generate energy from the rest of the attacks. Now the last and best combo is not written anywhere, but I'm going to go ahead and call it the combo crossover. And this combo is done by taking the first 2 left clicks of the Vertical Ripper combo, combining it with the last 2 right clicks in the Horizontal Edge combo. And this combo will pretty much be your most used one, other than the Horizontal Edge combo. One last thing for the combos is if you want to, after you finish a roll, you can start up a combo. And the best combo to start after rolling is the Horizontal Edge combo, because you will start on the second right click and you can move into the charge right click and the base right click. And this is a pretty easy way to do a lot of burst damage in a pretty short amount of time, especially if you already have to roll to dodge an attack. Now we can talk about these cells for the axe. And keep in mind guys, I'm not going to be listing every single cell in every single category, but I will be listing the cells that I think are the most important for the axe in those categories. So let's get started. The first and most important category is power. And in this category you have Overpower, Rage Hunter, Aether Hunter, and Knockout King. And for one, do not use Overpower on Rezakiri because it does not work, so keep that in mind. The next category is Technique cells. And in this category, I only really put Evasive Fury and Wild Frenzy, mostly because the other two good cells, which are Predator and Cunning, aren't that great on the axe in my opinion, because for Predator, you can't get hit. And that means that you can't take advantage of the axe's very unique ability, which is Resolve, or Power Armor as I've been calling it. And with Cunning, the axe is so slow that I just don't think it's that great of a cell for the axe. But if it's all you have, you can go ahead and use it. Then we have Utility, which I think is pretty much as good as the Technique cells. And in this category, we have Conduit, Aetheric Attunement, and Energized. Second to last, we have Mobility cells, which you have Conditioning, Agility, and Swift. And Conditioning is a really good cell for players that are new to fights, because it gives you more opportunities to dodge because you have more stamina, and the same goes for Agility. Swift is just for getting to fights fast if you're using a weapon that has a feather slot or a mobility slot. And lastly, we have the defense cells, which are pretty much in the same spot as mobility cells in the sense that you only really use them if you have a weapon that has a defense cell. But for these cells, I recommend Tough, 9 Lives, Sturdy, and Guardian. But only use Guardian if you're using rockfall weapons, because if you are using those weapons, Guardian is insanely strong. But if you're not, it pretty much has almost no value. So those are all of the good cells for the axe, in my opinion, for the respective cell slots. And the last thing I'll talk about are the tips for the axe, which I pretty much gave you throughout the video, but I want to go ahead and highlight them one more time. So remember that you can use Resolve to increase DPS windows, and Resolve is also Power Armor, it's the same thing, just different names. Also make sure that you have a little bit of stamina when doing charge attacks so you can build your special meter and not just waste time and the hit. And the last one is pressing Q twice. If you miss your Q, you can press it again as long as you're standing still to have a chance at not having to waste all of your special meter and having to regain it again. So it's a really good tip. If you miss your first Q, just press it again while standing still. And with that, that is the end of this video, guys. I hope you liked it. If you did, please leave a like on the video, comment, and if you want to, you can subscribe to the channel. I have said that like 20 times, and I'm still getting it wrong. Anyway, if you guys really want to, you can subscribe to my Twitch channel to get my in-game partner Flare, as well as my Twitch emote. And if you stay subscribed to my channel or other Dauntless partners, you will get a Twitch Flare, a Twitch banner plant, a title, and a Twitch landing animation, which I think is really cool. But all shameless plugs aside, I hope you guys all had a fantastic New Year's, and I hope that Dauntless has a great 2019, which I think it will. Anyway, I've been Doe, and I will see you in the next one.